context? Templates. So here's the list of templates in my simulation. Here's template 1. I'm going to edit, paste, and it puts the stuff exactly where it was before when I copied it, or cut it in this case. I come back to my story, and down here at the bottom it says template, template 1, and then apply current template to entire story. So now I've taken this template, I've put it in the whole story, and now as I switch through the pages here, I can run. But what's really annoying now is this behavior doesn't match this structure. It doesn't because we haven't run yet. Every time the user's got to click run. Oh my God, users are lazy. They're not going to click buttons. Why would we make users click buttons? So we can do something really neat to get rid of this button. So let's go back to our template. So you'll notice here I tried to select this button. It's not actually here anymore. I can't grab it. It doesn't exist here. I have to go back to my template, come here, grab it, and delete it.
Where do you click to apply to the entire presentation?
Oh yeah, sure. So you go back to your story, and here, let me close the panel, and you click and open, and in the panel, if you scroll all the way to the bottom, I know, bad design, you get this button which applies this template to the entire story. Alright, so now, this is a mess. I'm just going to add a new page. Okay, so I'm going to put down a button to start this story, to start presenting this story. So I put down this button, and I say navigate to story, story 1, page 1. And when I click this button, it brings me to the story, but I still have this problem of the graph is, all wrong. What you can do is you click the button and you add another action to it. And this action is to start Stella Live. And the nice thing about buttons is you can do multiple things in a single button, and you can take the actions and reorder them. So I want it to start Stella Live before it brings me to the story. And so now I click this button, it's flat. I go to the next page, and it's, linearly increasing. I go to the next page, it's exponentially increasing. I come here, I guess the reference lifetime isn't enough to change the behavior. And I add my carrying capacity, and it flattens it back out. So that's a really super powerful way to show people how structure affects behavior without them having to do a darn stinking thing, because users are lazy and they don't press buttons. I think that is the majority of what I want to cover. I guess since you all said it was cool that I could take 10 more minutes out of your life, I'm going to show you one more thing that I wasn't planning on showing you, but which is good to know. So that's how you build a story. David's going to make you build lots of these things. We'll build, I'm sure, another one over the course of the week. But I'm not even sure David knows that technique about Stella Live. Oh, I forgot to tell you one thing about stories. Shoot. Okay, so I'm going to show you this story again. And we keep going, and we're at the end of the story. Remember, this is exactly as the user will see your story, as the user will see your interface. There is no button here to get back to the interface. You have to put the button to go back, to go home, to continue. So, when you build interfaces, you need to take care of wiring in all of the navigation. So what I need to do here is on this last page of the story, I need to put a button and have this button stop Stella Live, and have this button navigate to page. And then there's a whole bunch of different pages. Home page is a page that you've specifically specified as home. It's just a shortcut. Next page is 1 plus the current page in terms of page numbers. Previous page is 1 minus the page in terms of page numbers. Last visited page is the last thing you saw. and then here is specific pages. So we just want to go back to page 1. So now when I present this story, I hit stop live and go home, and here I am, I'm back at home. And now I've actually got a full, cycle of an interface. Oh, is that you?
You're supposed to finish, right?
The last thing I want to show you is something we call simulation events. You've probably seen these on the model layer, maybe not. And what they allow you to do is change the flow of the simulation based on model results. I wish he was here, because this is one of the things he wanted to learn. Anyway, so we can add an event for the variable population, and we can say, okay, what's the threshold for this event? What has to happen in the model for this event to be triggered? So when the variable grows larger than the threshold, or when the variable drops below the threshold. So when population grows above 50, when population drops below 7. And the directionality is important. So if we were to say, when the variable drops below the threshold 10, and our population starts off at 6, the event won't be triggered, because the variable hasn't crossed the threshold. The variable started below the threshold. It all has to do with moving through, imagine a number line in your head from 0 to infinity. The threshold is a point on that number line. When the variable crosses through that point on the number line, the event will fire. So let me show you what that means. In this model, population goes from, I think, 10 to like 200. So let's say when the variable grows larger than 50, once per run, add an action. Okay, and then there's two different ways this action could be executed. This action could be executed when the run was started from an interface control, when the run was started on the interface. This action could be triggered when the run was started on the model layer. So you can have events that show up when people are running your model in your stock and flow structure. In that case, you typically use them for notifying people that they passed the acceptable bounds of what your model is known for calculating. So if you kind of know in the back of your head that in your model population is never supposed to exceed 5,000, you could put a threshold of 5,000 on population and say when population exceeds 5,000, put a message to the user running my model that email me this set of situations. You've broken my model. This model isn't reporting real results anymore. One of the biggest places that posters are used, though, is to fire people in simulations. Profit has dropped below 0. You're fired. So in this case, we want an action to be executed when the run is started via an interface control. And so the reason why we divided them out like that is you want different things to happen based on when people run models from the model layer versus when they run them from the interface layer. On the interface layer, you can be doing things like firing people, like telling them something is going wrong, like telling them they're doing a good job. On the model layer, you're pretty much using them to say, you've now exceeded the bounds of what I thought my model was capable of doing. So we don't want model-style posters showing up on the interface, because if a user of my interface got a message that says, population isn't supposed to grow above 5,000, they'd be really confused. We don't want to alert them to the fact that we have bugs. Let them figure that out on their own. Okay, so anyway, warning. Population has grown above 50. What you gonna do about it? Okay, so on the interface, actions can not only show text, they can show image, they can show video, and they can navigate you to a page. So if you leave the text blank and all you do is go to a page, the simulation will automatically switch the page based on what happens in the model. Really useful because you can bring people to a you're fired page, or you can bring people to a hints page. Okay. So now we can see that it says when the variable population crosses the threshold of 50, when the run was started via the interface, pause the simulation and display the message, blah. So now, when I come here, what did I do? Okay, when I come here and I hit run, it shows me the message, you know, population's growing above 50, what am I going to do about it? It can show you that you've been fired, it can show you any number of things you want it to show you. And I think that's it. Yeah, I went 1,000,000 miles an hour, but I think you've pretty much seen the majority of the functionality within Architect. I don't expect you to remember any more than like 10% of all the things I've said today. It would be crazy if you remembered more than that. For the rest of the week, we're meeting again. What time tomorrow?
12:15.
Okay. Starting at 12:15 tomorrow. You all have been hired as consultants. I am, the CEO, or I'm the, head of HR at Nintendo. Nintendo's got a problem. Nintendo has not been, making all that much money recently. The Wii U is a pretty big flop. We want to identify the managerial talent within our organization who's going to help us turn our organization around. So tomorrow, we're going to build an interface to help me find candidates to put into executive positions at Nintendo. That's it.